By the time the trade winds returned to Grenada, so did I. Ubuntu was ready to stretch her legs. The promise of deep blue waters, sun-warmed islands, and hidden beaches called to her like an old song. Mid-January 2025, I set sail from Grenada with 2 crewmates. Boyan, my friend, rum enthusiast, part-time historian, and beach philosopher. And Pam, his girlfriend, first-time sailor, and future Caribbean real estate agent in disguise. The first leg was a modest 34 miles to Carriacou. Boyan instantly adapted to boat life, barefoot, relaxed, and helm-happy. Pam got seasick a bit, but she stayed strong, so we had to stop in Carriacou for a day that she could recover. Then she discovered Paradise Beach. Game over! Her discomfort mysteriously intensified just enough to justify 3 extra days of recovery under palm trees, sipping cocktails and pretending not to be on vacation. From Carriacou, we drifted through the Grenadines like a watercolor painting in motion. Union Island, Tobago Keys, Canouan Bequet, St. Lucia, Martinique, Dominica, Guadeloupe, Antigua, each stop a new palette of colors, each beach a brief haven from the thrill of the passage. Turtles glided beneath the hull, waves sparkled in the morning sun, and trade winds filled the sails like a clockwork. In Tobago Keys, we had what might be the best lobster dinner of our lives, courtesy of Captain Mike. He served it up right there on the beach. Lobsters straight out of the ocean, tossed on the grill and paired with enough rum punch to make us forget we were sitting on plastic chairs in the sand. By the end of the night, we were convinced this was a 5-star restaurant, just one without walls, waiters, or a bill big enough to ruin the trip. It was magic. Sparkling water, perfect breeze, grilled fish, lobster, and Boyan seriously enjoying being at the helm. Almost every island we sailed to was already in carnival mode, as if the Caribbean had secretly hired a marching band to follow us from port to port. But once we reached Antigua, Pam and Boyan came to a life-altering realization. They didn't just like Paradise Beach. They wanted to move there. So they booked flights back from Antigua and started house hunting like pirates with a Zillow account. Boyan was supposed to sail back with me, but let's be real, tropical drinks and beachfront naps with Pam won. And just like that, I was alone on Ubuntu. Well, not for long, just a few days later, Dragon showed up. Dragon had heard there was an opportunity to sail the Caribbean for the cost of airfare and food mostly. Naturally, he took the first flight to Antigua. Unfortunately, Daniela, his girlfriend, wasn't so thrilled about the plan. She wanted him to stay. But Dragon said, "How can I pass on sailing on a Swan in the Caribbean? I'll be back in 2 weeks." A mutual friend promised. He's a serious sailor, knows diesel engines like he knows himself. Which was funny because he never really sailed, and when I mentioned that I may need his engine expertise, he couldn't stop laughing. However, he showed up with a top-shelf bottle of tequila and few Cuban cigars. Most importantly, Dragon loved sailing. The cigars didn't last long, neither did the tequila. But Dragon, he was having the time of his life, improving his sailing skills by leaps and bounces. Yet no matter how casual the cruise was meant to be, Ubuntu's racing pedigree could not be denied. A Swan 47 is not just a beautiful boat, she was born for speed. Whenever another sailboat appeared on the horizon, I couldn't resist from turning the encounter into a spontaneous race. Boats we passed, sometimes two at a time, had no idea they'd become part of Ubuntu's performance trial. But the longer we sailed, the more Dragan drifted into a fog of longing. Daniela was nowhere in sight. By the time we hit Martinique, she had become his sole conversational topic, and then with the decisiveness of a man who suddenly remembered we had Starlink and online boarding passes, he declared, "I miss Daniela, that's it, I'm booking the next Air Canada flight." And just like that, off he went, straight back to his love. 4 days ahead of schedule, he packed up and flew to Toronto, leaving behind a half-empty bottle of single malt, a can of his favorite sardines, and the ghost of an unfinished adventure. I realized that sometimes love is faster than sailing, and considerably less patient than a can of fish. From Martinique, I sailed solo the rest of the way to Grenada. It was peaceful, quiet, slightly lonely, but no one tried to fix the autopilot with a butter knife. No one went house hunting or left the dinghy on the beach too close to the waves to get filled with water and sand. All in all, a classic Caribbean cruise. 12 islands, 2 crew changes, 1 broken relationship between Pam and solid food, and a surprisingly romantic marine mechanic. Ubuntu had danced across islands, shared laughter, endured mishaps, and proven herself alive and eager. She was more than a boat, she was a vessel of stories, a keeper of adventures, and a reminder that the world is still vast, wild, and full of promise. Even on my own, Ubuntu's competitive spirit remained. Any boat within sight quickly became a friendly challenge. She surged forward with a gleam in her hull, overtaking cruising yachts effortlessly. The waves seemed to cheer her on, carrying her past slower vessels as if to say, "This is what a Swan 47 does." Squalls teased, reefs demanded respect, and the Caribbean revealed its moods in sudden shifts of wind and light. Yet with every mile, Ubuntu and I moved in harmony. Her speed and seaworthiness matched only by her grace. By the time we returned to Grenada, the journey had carried us through hundreds of miles of wind, water, and immense beauty that only nature can create. And guess what? I'm doing it all again this coming winter, island hopping the Caribbean aboard Ubuntu. If you've ever dreamed of sailing deep blue waters and exploring hidden beaches, you're officially invited aboard. Ubuntu has room for 4 adventure-loving souls at a time. No sailing experience required, just a good attitude and a willingness to laugh when things go sideways, which they occasionally do, in style. Want to learn the ropes and take the helm? Awesome, you'll feel like Captain Jack Sparrow with better navigation tools. Prefer to lounge in the cockpit with a drink in hand and let the wind do the work, also totally acceptable. Smoking on the boat is a no-go, but if you bring a fine cigar, we'll light it up properly during a sunset sail or barefoot on the beach, swapping stories like seasoned pirates with better skin care. Come sail, chill, and make some unforgettable stories, rum optional, good vibes guaranteed. Your fair share keeps the galley stocked, the tanks full, the ship snug in port, and the customs crew smiling, all for less than a parrot's ransom. So, pack your swimwear, flip-flops, forget your worries, and prepare for an adventure you'll be bragging about for years, possibly to strangers at bus stops. Just try not to fall in love with Paradise Beach. And so, with Ubuntu back in Grenada, our Caribbean loop came full circle, but there was one lingering regret: sailing past Pigeon Island in Guadeloupe without stopping. As a young boy, I grew up religiously watching Jacques Cousteau reveal the secrets of the sea. And when he declared that spot one of the best diving sites in the world, it became etched in my imagination. Without a crew, dropping anchor there would have been too tricky, and I had to keep sailing on. But that dream is only waiting. Next season, Ubuntu will return, and this time we'll drop anchor at Pigeon Island and dive into the legendary Reserve Cousteau, a protected underwater world of coral gardens, glittering fish, and endless wonder. For me, it's a chance to finally step into the dream of my childhood hero. For you, it could be the adventure of a lifetime.